Come with me, you will see there will be room to grow. Come with me, then you'll see, yes you'll see, there's room to grow.
Hi, I'm Meredith and welcome to Room to Grow. How do you decide when and if it's time to try for your second baby? Well, that's the question we'll be exploring today. Sally Ann and Amanda find out how to introduce your newborn to the family. And Leanne, a midwife, explains about what to expect once your waters break. You've just stolen back a little sleep and have almost forgotten the pain and drama of childbirth from your first child. Is it already time for baby number 2? Well, psychologist Sally Ann McCormack is here to help us decide. Welcome back to the show, Sally Ann.
Thanks, Meredith.
So what are some of the things that you need to consider when thinking of number 2?
Well, there's lots of things to consider, whether the age gap is too big or too small. Financial considerations are probably number one these days. We need to work out whether it's something we can afford to do at this time. It might be, can you afford the cost of childcare, or lots of other considerations in that sense. Can you live on one wage if you are a couple? Is it possible to find someone who will look after 2 or more children? I myself had 4 children and found it very difficult to find anyone who would babysit all 4 of them. So that might be a consideration too. So financial as well as support. Some of the challenges are having mum out of work for a period of time. So is it a good thing to have another child all together at the same time as an older one, and then go back to work after that? Mm-hmm. Or would it be more advisable to just have one child, go back to work for a while, and then start again? So you need to work out.
So it's dealing with the financial aspect of it.
Yes.
So financial is one aspect. Age, I suppose, would be age between siblings.
Age between siblings. There are advantages and disadvantages of different groups, and there's no experts have made a decision as to which is best, whether it's better to have them close together or whether to have them far apart.
That is actually a pressing concern of mine, because I sort of wonder, well, when is the best time in terms of the effect on the child?
Some people suggest that it's best to have them close together because they may end up being friends, and they
may end up.
May, and I will say that, may end up being good friends and play together. But one of the dangers, the flip side of that, is the potential for conflict and rivalry. I mean, if they're close together in age, as happens sometimes with twins as well, you may actually find that they compete for parents' attention, they compete for everything. So there may be some rivalry in there too.
So there's really pros and cons about different intervals.
Yeah, and with the bigger age gap, some people say that it's great to have lots of single children. So a child, they enjoy being a parent to a newborn baby and to a toddler and to a preschooler, and then once their child gets to school, they might start again and have the same situation. So they enjoy the being present with the child again, the new child. Also, the woman's body too, to consider her health and well-being, as well as whoever the primary caregiver is, whether it's the mum or the dad, to make sure that they're in tip-top health and doing well physically and
psychologically and emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to make sure that all those things are on track.
With you're nice and calm and patient and ready to go through it again with the second one.
Yes, or whether you're still really stressed and sleepless and unable to cope with having another child.
And there's also the physical aspect as well. If you've had a complicated labour or pregnancy previously, you might have to deal with that.
Yep. And there may be fertility issues as well. That might be something that you may need to consider. If it took a long time for you to become pregnant with the first child, then perhaps it would be wise to try earlier rather than later, in case you're unable to conceive again.
And it's also considering whether you want to have sex with that person again.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. You need to. Yeah. Are you still with your partner? Is the relationship stable? Is that something that's that also needs to be consideration too before continuing to expand your family. Also, the age of the mother.
Yeah.
If she's past 35, it may be that the biological clock is ticking, so it may be important to consider that as well.
So you really need to ask yourself, okay, this is the age I am, this is what I need to achieve by X amount of age.
Yep. And what sort of size of family is it that you're after? Are you after a small family? Are you after a number of children?
So in terms of preparing for number 2, what sort of questions should the parents be asking themselves? You've mentioned financial, well, how can we afford this?
Yes. What is it that you want in your family as well? Do you really want to spend precious time with individual babies? Or in my case, I decided to get it over and done with. I was not looking forward to nappies and sleepless nights, and I thought my decision was have them quickly and get them over and done with, so I'd have a compact set of years of nappies and sleepless nights and teething and all those things.
Yes.
So that was the reason for my decision. But others would say, well, I'm too tired to even think about adding a second child to the mix, and it would be better for me to have my sleepless nights, start recovering from that, and then think about a second child then.
Yeah, there's also the prospect of having 2 babies in nappies, whereas if you just can get 1 baby out of nappies, that's another one.
And again, the financial cost of that, regardless of whether you use disposables or flannel nappies, having 2 lots at once is an immediate cost to you. So whether it's, even if you have the nappies that you wash, that's more detergent, more time consuming to wash 2 lots, having to purchase more of those at once too. So there really are financial costs either way.
Yeah. How do you know when the first child you have, how do you know when they're ready to have a sibling? If you're doing it from the baby's perspective?
Yeah. Sometimes looking at their personality, if they are a very demanding child, or for example, if they're extremely unwell, if they're an unwell child, perhaps it would be best for you to have a bigger gap in that sense, so you can focus more on that individual child and prepare them too. Because clearly for a young child, for a toddler or a younger, it's quite difficult to prepare them for a newborn child, to explain to them what's happening, because they really don't understand the permanency and the concept of having a new child. So it's probably, it depends on what it is that you value as to how you go about deciding when to have your child.
So really take into account the personality, the character traits, how well your baby is, and how needy, I suppose, they are at the time. So certain issues that would be paramount in you delaying having a second baby, would be what? One, that the first baby is unwell?
Yes. If the first baby's unwell, what it is that you want out of parenting too. If you really do want to spend a lot of quality time with a single child, and you don't want to have them feel that they're constantly competing with someone else in your life, because we as parents know that we love all of our children, and it's not a competition from our perspective, but from a little one's perspective. I was by myself for 12 months, and now there's this little critter that's come into the house and taking over.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the big one is you've had one child, and then automatically people say, so when are you going to have another one? One, you may decide never to have another child, so you may just be happy with just having one child. You may not be able to have another child, or there may be the pressure to have another child ASAP. What's some tips for dealing with people, whether it be in-laws or friends or shopkeepers, who are sticking their noses in, so to speak?
And they do. You're absolutely right. They really do. And it is a very big pressure for parents, because we worry about what other people are thinking, and we take that into consideration. But the best advice really, which is probably quite simplistic, is really to do what's best for you. It is really difficult, particularly grandparents. They love to have more grandchildren, and
So what can you say?
I guess you can just say that, thank you for your concern, and we're going to be thinking about it and talking about it ourselves, and we'll let you know. So
Okay.
thank you. So to be
Butt out.
polite. Yes, yeah. A polite way of saying
Yeah.
butt out, I guess.
Yes. We'll get back to you on that one.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, because it is difficult, and for those who can't, have fertility difficulties,
Yeah.
which are quite common, it's quite a painful question to be
That's
asked
right.
too. So I guess a polite way of saying, look, thank you, we'll let you know,
Yeah.
when and if that comes about. We appreciate that you're interested, and we love you for that.
Indeed.
Yes.
Thank you, Sally Ann, for coming on the show and sharing with us your experience as a mother of 4 and as a psychologist on preparing for baby number 2.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Meredith.
Thank you.